Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's director of simulcasting, Jim Goodman, who gave you a nice 19-1 winner in the last race on our Wednesday podcast. He included that one in his late pick four, so hopefully you guys had that one. Let's go to the feature on the Friday card. It is an allowance race on the turf with 3-year-old fillies. And, Jim, I couldn't get past the two favorites. I ended up going for Core, who ran well here on the Poly last fall and now is going in a turf race, but did run well in a turf sprint earlier this year. This horse is placed in a graded stake, so I think maybe just a little bit of a class edge over the Ward entry, which would be the only one I'd consider. So Core for me, and box it with the 1-1A entry trained by Wesley Ward. What about you?
Yeah, I have a note on Core, and I've got it circled. It says Tom's horse. Because this horse ran at Keeneland.
The key race last year that it won. There were several winners that came out of that race.
I think we counted 9. I think we kept playing horses that went to Churchill off that race, and this horse wound up going to Tampa and winning. And about every other week it was like, yep, you're taking a horse out of the Core race. So I have to go with you on this one. John Scott should have this one ready. Been off since May, but there's a major class edge here. The other horses that are logical are the Ward horses. Shrinking Violet I like a little bit, but I actually like To My Valentine. The conditions of this race say that for fillies 3-year-olds which have never won a graded sweepstake, and To My Valentine won a non-graded stakes race, $125,000 at Kentucky Downs last time, so qualifies for this. But that was at Kentucky Downs. As you can see, those were almost graded stakes level companies. So I think To My Valentine has a shot here. So I'm going to box the Ward horses and Core and take my chances there.
All right, let's take a look at the late pick 4. It'll start in race 7 on Friday. And who did you start it out with in race 7?
Well, understanding that we're only going to use 2 in the 9th race, I'm going to go deep the first couple of races. The first race, I used 5 horses. I used Coup, Gleaming, Bold Kitten, Sianche, and She's Popular is my top choice on the outside for Reed Baker. Doesn't have a whole lot of horses that run at Keeneland, but they're usually live. And this horse comes out of Woodbine, picks up Bridge Mahan, and raced against a really nice filly named Lee Court, who's won 3 in a row, I think, at Woodbine. So I think that She's Popular, if you don't have a big bankroll, might be a good single there, but I'm going to go 5 deep in that race. And then in the 8th race, I'm also going 5 deep with Simonize, Good Tickled, Big Loot, Delmar Sunset, and I can't read my writing, but I think it's Inherently. Yes, Inherently. So that's 5 horses there. By the 2 horses we talked about in the 9th, Ward's entry plus Core, and then 2 horses in the 10th were I can't get my notes together here. The 10th race was Brown Eyed Josie. Burrell probably won't be on this horse now. He had a tough spill on Thursday or on Wednesday, and but it's Cecil Burrell's horse that had a lot of trouble last time out at Churchill. And the other horse that I used was Salt Free in there. So 2 horses there, and also took a close look at Tend was my other possibility there if you got a little more money.
7th race for me, I had 2. I'm going 5 deep. I think She's Popular is probably the one to beat. I actually picked Gleaning. Just if you tossed the race at Kentucky Downs last time, the race back in June, and non-winners of one other than got an 88 buyer, really a strong race. If she could run back to that, would have a great shot in here. But certainly the 12, I think, is the one to beat. So I'm going to use the 5, the 12, the 8, the 6, and the 1. In the 8th race, Simple Interest, another Lopresti horse. It was to be 2 in a row if I'm right on both of them. Simple Interest ran one of her better races on the Keeneland Synthetic last spring, working well for this. So I'm going to take Simple Interest to win it, but I'm also going to use the 6, the 8, and the 1, the 2 we talked about in the feature race. And then in the last race, I like Schmooze Talker, Ramsey and Maker. Often they'll claim a horse, and if it doesn't run well the first time or 2, they'll just drop it and try to win and move on. And I'm thinking that's maybe what they're doing here. I like to look at Mighty Fast a little bit as well. So I'm going to use 5 by 4 by 2 by 2 for $40. If you want to add one more horse in the last race, the 9 is one of the Presque Isle horses who have been very dangerous. There's a couple of them in there. The 9 at a price intrigued me a little bit. So if you wanted to go to $60 for a 50-cent pick 4, you could add the 9. But it's spreading out in the first 2 legs for me as well. That's our look at the Friday card at Keeneland. Saturday, we will have our regular expanded podcast here at Keeneland Select with a look at not only the Hagyard-Fayette, that is the closing day stake at Keeneland, and the late pick 4 as well, but also a couple of stakes up at Belmont and a graded stake out at Santa Anita a week before the Breeders' Cup. Best of luck on your wagers on the Friday card at Keeneland.